Let's get right in and introduce the people you are here to see tonight, the cast and crew of our wonderful project, The Mentalist. Let's start right away. While he is as icy as can be as Wayne Rigsby, I gotta say, he's incredible here, but I mean, the guy got to play a Terminator. How cool is that? Ladies and gentlemen, Owen Yeoman. Next up, she plays the buttoned-up Grace Van Pelt on the show. Before that, a lot of you knew her as Haley on the OC. And some of you, if you have a real taste in television, you would have loved her work on the vastly underrated North Shore as the temptress Tessa. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Righetti. Thank you for doing this. Next up is the very talented actress who plays the boss woman, Teresa Lisbon. You've also seen her in a lot of movies and the early days of Prison Break, of course. Pretty good poker player in her own right, if you knew that about her, and probably has helped her a little bit in her role, because she's always thinking, Patrick Jane is bluffing, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Tunney. I'm going to take a second and mention somebody who is not here, unfortunately. They are actually wrapping up the last day of production on this magnificent first season. Unfortunately, Kimball Cho could not be here with us tonight. He had to go directly from production right to an awards ceremony, actually. Guinness Book of World Records is giving him a thing tonight for the first actor to make it through a whole season without cracking a smile once on camera. So obviously, that's a lot more important than this. So unlucky for us, congratulations to him. Next up is the guy that TV Guide named the sexiest man in television. It's a guy so dreamy and engaging that my stepfather, sitting right over there, may leave my mother and come out of the closet tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Baker. We're gonna have a little fun tonight, aren't we, mate?
Yeah,
hello. Joining us next is the very talented producer and director who has worked on a lot of great television projects, all the way from Gilmore Girls to the Courtney Cox Arquette, say that quick 3 times, Dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Chris Long. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
And finally, let's bring back the creator of this little enterprise and the man who has all the answers to all your questions about what's going to happen on the show. Whether he's going to share them with you or not, I think we'd probably know the answer to that, but we're going to try anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back Bruno Heller. Long time no see. Cool. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
So you guys wrap production today, and this is what you do with your first night off? We're happy to have you. Let's jump right in and talk about it. Bruno and Chris, let's talk about this show. Where did the idea come from? Where did this character come from? How do you end up with this?
That's you, mate.
Well, I guess the flip answer is if I could have sold CBS and Warner Brothers on just doing Sherlock Holmes, that's what we would have done. But you have to add something to it. It's essentially an attempt to get back to not an old-fashioned, but an old-school detective. It was something where we were trying to create a framework for a bravura performance by a great actor, and this is the result.
How'd you pick that guy? I didn't mean it that way.
Like I say, it needs a great technical actor with charisma and charm, and someone who can create that kind of large character. And Simon agreed to do it.
Yeah.
No pressure there.
Yeah. So the whole idea of a mentalist, I mean, is that real? Is there a school you can go to? How do you become one?
It is real. There aren't schools you can go to, but it's a very old tradition in the magic world. It's a part of the showbiz world, essentially. And getting into the research about it, it became clear that this was a world that is both familiar and strange. If you go to any city in America, any part of town, you will find a psychic on the block who is essentially plying the same trade as mentalists. They're trying to create the illusion that they can read your mind, that they can see beyond the veil. And what they're doing is essentially using genuine natural skills of empathy and acuity to create the illusion of supernatural powers. And that seemed to be a very interesting moral position to be in, because they're essentially performing the function of a psychoanalyst or a priest, but at the same time they're lying about their powers. At least that's my opinion. I mean, I think the interesting thing about those psychics is that half the country will say it's not real, they're charlatans. The other half will say, no, they said very truthful and profound things about me. And it's precisely that line that the mentalist walks along, and mentalists walk along. They use their natural skills of empathy and intelligence to create an illusion that hopefully is in some ways therapeutic and helpful.
There's a wonderful guy called Darren Brown. You can look up on YouTube. And he's a mentalist out of England. And he does some absolutely fascinating stuff.
Like what?
Well, there's certain, and this is actually one of the challenges of the show, is to actually show some of the stuff that he does, which is really not outwardly tricks. And he can con, is one great one, he can actually con some guy out of his wallet just by basically handing him a bottle of water and talking to him and planting certain words inside his head to make it happen. It's really, he's really interesting.
There's this whole idea obviously was so big that it actually gave birth to a couple shows. There's a show on Fox called Lie to Me, which you guys have heard about.
There is?
Yeah, apparently. Chris,
Who's in that?
Chris, have you seen it?
I've not seen it, actually.
Simon, is he lying?
No, we wouldn't be lying.
All
I mean,
I haven't seen Psych either, actually, to be absolutely honest.
Okay.
I haven't seen either of those shows, so I'm not even quite sure.
So there's a couple other
How similar to
there's a couple other shows on kind of like it. You guys are
Right.
the best. You got to.
Hey!
you know, I thought it was interesting when I haven't seen an episode of Lie to Me yet, and I think Tim Roth is a fantastic actor, and I'd love to know what the show is like. I read some of the sort of press stuff leading up to it because they obviously tied the two of the shows together in a lot of ways, and the hard and the tricky part about doing a television show that has some kind of a concept or a hook to it, which is, like Bruno said, really, if you could have sold them Sherlock Holmes, you would have sold them Sherlock Holmes, but you've got to have some sort of higher concept to sell these days. And the problem often with higher concepts is that you can get yourself back in the corner and get stuck. Like, okay, so where do we go? Because the concept is, it's getting a little tired, right? So I was interested to see how Lie to Me, which was a more finite, well, not necessarily finite, that's sort of arrogant of me to say that, but a more...
True, though, it's true.
A more restricted, like they were saying, well, we're not like the Mentalist, but we're about a guy that is a human lie detector. And my fear always going into the show was, how can we branch it out so that the character can go in a lot of different directions? And I was very interested to see how Lie to Me deals with the concept after 5 or 6 episodes when everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, he's a liar, so what?
Right.
No disrespect.
No, of course not. No, none. Speaking of concepts, this whole kind of backstory that a lot of this is kind of built around is this idea of this Red John character. What kind of dark place were you in when you came up with that one?
I think what I was trying to do was create a show that was positive and light and could be optimistic about the world, but is anchored in the reality of everyone's life, which is you die in the end, and that's what crime shows do on some level is deal with death, but deal with it in a functional way where you get redemption out of it, you get revenge, you find the killer. It was important with this, if you're gonna deal with crime and murder in the positive way that we do, you need an anchor of darkness that allows you to keep it light whilst remaining real. And Red John is essentially the reality of death in everyone's life. So in that sense, he's mysterious and enigmatic, and he doesn't become he's not the one-armed man like in The Fugitive, where you get a kind of sense of a real person. He's much more. He is a real person, but he's also symbolic in that way.
Kaiser Soze.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's where he came from.
For you, and then for the cast, I mean, every show is built around somebody dying at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
So but yet the show's got this upbeat, fun kind of feel to it. How do you deal with that? You kind of making sure you keep it realistic, but have a lot of fun along the way.
Well, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're not, the person that we meet in the teaser is dead. Mm-hmm. So you're not invested in that person, which is really, how you can achieve keeping the lightness to it at the same time dealing with these horrific events, because you're not, when you join the show, you're not invested in the person that's dead.
It's definitely difficult. That part of it is I think is really difficult. Sorry. Not that.
Bless you.
That part, finding the balance of that is difficult. But I think what sets the show apart in one particular way in dealing with that is that so many procedural shows are incredibly earnest, and we're familiar enough with the concept of a crime, murder mystery genre in television that we don't labour on the angst and the pain as much with each story each week, and we try to see, okay, well, someone has died, move on, solve the crime, as opposed to the earnestness of it.
I think there needs to be a level of detachment as well. I mean, when we've spoken to cops and people we have a great consultant, Carl, on the show, and he said, sometimes when you're faced with these terrible things, the only way you can deal with them is by laughing. And, if you invest yourself personally and earnestly in all these things, you go mad. And, what I love about the show in terms of the procedural element of it is that these guys see this terrible stuff happening day in, day out. And I think the way that they deal with it is by being detached. And it's like, yes, there is a life there, but yes, life has to go on for us, and we have to deal with this as our job from day to day. Mm-hmm. So you've got to laugh or else you'll cry, I think.
Yeah.
So what's it like behind the scenes then? Who's the class clown?
Owen.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of debate there, eh?
Yeah. Tim Kang, who can't defend himself. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a joker.
So this is the one that keeps you on edge, keeps you.
Robin has her moments too.
Really? Is that true, Robin?
Tons of funny.
Uh-oh.
We try to have a good time. It's long hours, and sometimes.
You got issues to deal with, like body odor. Personal space.
Sometimes when a guy wins sexiest guy on television, somebody's got to make fun of him. Do you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, it might go to his head.
Take a ticket, join the queue.
Whatever.
She's looking pretty sexy tonight, I would think. Wouldn't you think? This is leather. Yeah, leather.
Woof. I do have to say, it's very important to the tone of the show in general, and this is one of those things that is underestimated, the mood on the set and the mood that the actors bring in the morning when they come to work is a big part of what makes any show what it is. And these guys are professional and great at their job, but also come with that with this attitude of like they're there to enjoy themselves and do something great. So it's a happy set in that way, unless.
No. I mean, I mean, we've all been on a lot of sets. This one's very, very mellow.
I also think it comes from the bottom down, though. I mean, Bruno's.
Bottom down?
From the top. No, I mean, Bruno, it's funny. I mean, a lot of guys that are successful in Hollywood, they're like the guy that wasn't cool in high school and like they want to take control and be loud and important. And Bruno is...
You never went to
Are you saying I wasn't cool in high school?
He's a shy guy, and he's really bright, and he's not somebody who got this job because he couldn't get a girlfriend. He's a guy who got a girlfriend. And he doesn't... He sort of doesn't...
Keep.
No, he is incredibly comfortable with himself and provides this environment for nobody feels judged. Everybody feels safe, and he comes in and is incredibly gentle and kind, and I don't think that happens a lot. Like, I feel completely good at work, and it's because of him. He's really nice. I mean it.
Oh,
I concur.
Yeah. God, I'm blushing.
Tim and I also owe a lot to Chuck Norris. We pass the hours by reading interesting facts about Chuck Norris.
Mr. T.
And Chuck Norris versus Mr. T. I can recommend that to everyone. That's one of my bestsellers.
It's a must.
There is nothing to fear but fear itself, and fear itself fears Chuck Norris. I think that was a winner of a quote from that. But yeah, we've passed many hours exchanging.
Yeah, they love that book.
Chuck Norris facts.
They have some hours to pass.
Before I ask how Bruno did with the girls in high school, because that's the next question.
Uh-oh.
Give us the best Chuck Norris quote fact we don't know. Then come on.
When Chuck Norris does a push-up, he doesn't do a push-up. He pushes the world down. I quite like that.
That's a good one.
that's good.
How'd you do with the girls?
Well enough.
Really well.
Well enough, yeah.
Okay.
See that
Judging
woman
by
with the
his
blonde
attitude.
hair and the very
wife's,
red
Yeah, he's got a very hot
I'm
wife.
gonna look over there because then I'll be embarrassed. So I'm just gonna,
Really hot
Yeah.
wife.
Hi.
Somehow I've deduced the success of The Mentalist being that Bruno had a girlfriend in high school.
There you go.
There's no Hollywood writers who did great with the girls in high school. She's right. That's a fact. I did pretty
Also,
good.
now
I
you
did
did
great
great.
for a writer.
You did great for a writer.
Not as well as Simon did.
Let's move on.
Let's talk about the characters a little bit that make this show so great. I'm sure we'll get into talking more and ask you guys to talk a little bit about your characters specifically, but I thought we'd just start by a couple boom, boom, boom things right away. Amanda, Miss Van Pelt, in high school, did she date the quarterback, date the bad boy, or quietly dated both at the same time?
Quietly dated both at the same time.
Hey now.
Oh.
All right.
Wow.
Simon, Patrick, Jane, AC/DC or In Excess? Had to be an Aussie band, didn't it? Oh.
What? I think both. Why be? Patrick's not judgmental. I think he likes all things.
Very nice.
Did he say AC/DC?
No, he said both.
Oh.
We've had that argument. It makes sense.
Hey, Robin, when Tunny goes home, she's...
Early stuff. You missed the early stuff. Anyway, we argue about
In Excess. Yeah.
She missed the early stuff. It's lost. Then,
Gone.
Move on.
The reality show just killed it, yeah. When Tunny goes home, sits on the couch, cracks open a beer, flips on the TV, Oprah or pro wrestling?
Ooh.
I'm so sorry to say neither.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
What do you think? What you watching? Give us that.
Me, myself, or
I'm not-
Lisbon?
We're talking about Lisbon.
Oh, professional wrestling. You said honey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
First
sorry.
of many screw-ups tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely.
I like it.
Yeah.
Owen, when we're talking about Rigsby, the
Chuck
question...
Norris or Mr. T?
Nice
Chuck
one.
Norris.
Of course, the question the ladies all want to know, boxers or briefs?
Oh,
Not you, nobody cares, just Rigsby.
spandex boxer briefs. With a lot of loose-fitting lycra.
All right.
They're very airy.
And,
Crutchless?
wow.
Too much information,
very in
wasn't it? Yeah.
touch with your character.
I sensed that.
Yeah. No,
Very
he's
in
thought
touch
about
with
all
your
that
character.
stuff.
Yeah,
Thought about
apparently.
all that stuff.
Tim's not here, so we'll answer for him about show. The first time he sees that Scottish chick, Susan Boyle, singing on Britain's Got Talent, the one that's all over YouTube, tears or no tears?
From Cho?
Yeah.
Privately, tears, I think.
Yeah.
Love to.
But nothing on the
Just
outside.
a veil of just.
He'd go home and watch it on a loop. Yeah.
I think he'd try and date her, to be honest.
He's into the eyebrows and all? Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Who said that? What's the matter with you? Sorry about that. Hey, Jane's character used to be a psychic, obviously. You talked a little bit about it. Anybody on stage ever been to a psychic? Yeah? Go. Let's hear it.
Well, you know, I used to, whenever I was away doing a film on location, I would go to a psychic or a clairvoyant wherever I was. It was kind of something I did when I was lonely, in lieu of prostitutes, basically. I could give someone money and they could tell me about myself. Unfortunately, there's nothing physical. Most of the times they were in a foreign language, so I didn't understand what they're saying anyway. So it's just a way to get rid of per diem, really. Even better.
Anybody else?